The moment Marisol stepped into the sunlit cafe with her little girl's hand wrapped tightly around her fingers, she felt every pair of eyes turn toward her like a sudden change in weather, sharp and unavoidable, and her heart dropped into the familiar place where fear lived quietly, waiting for moments like this. She had promised herself she wouldn't flinch anymore, that she wouldn't apologize for existing as she was, but the heat of judgment pressed against her skin anyway, heavy as noon light on glass. This was supposed to be a simple blind date, a harmless attempt at starting again, yet the truth walked beside her in small sneakers and a yellow dress, carrying the weight of her whole world. And across the room sat the single dad, unaware that his reaction in the next few minutes would change the course of all their lives. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and unexpected turns of the heart, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Journal, because stories like this only matter when they are felt and passed on. Marisol had not planned to bring her daughter, Isla, on a blind date, not in the way people imagined when they whispered or stared, but the babysitter cancelled at dawn, her sister was working a double shift, and the date had already been postponed twice because life never seemed to wait for single mothers to catch their breath. The morning had been clear and bright, sunlight pouring through their small apartment window as Isla twirled in front of the mirror, asking if yellow made her look like a flower, and Marisol had smiled even as her chest tightened. She told herself it was just coffee, just daylight, just two adults meeting under honest circumstances, and honesty meant not pretending Isla did not exist. Still, as she walked toward the table where Rowan Hales sat waiting, she braced herself for disappointment, because experience had taught her that most people said they understood until understanding was placed directly in front of them. Rowan noticed them immediately, not because he was irritated or surprised, but because he had learned to scan rooms instinctively since becoming a father. His attention always pulled toward small movements and quiet vulnerabilities. The cafe was bright and open, with large windows and pale wooden tables, the kind of place where mornings felt forgiving, and he had chosen it intentionally, believing daylight revealed truths people could not hide in dim corners. He had arrived early, ordered black coffee, and sat with his shoulders slightly hunched, a habit formed after years of carrying responsibility alone. When he saw Marisol hesitate near the entrance, her eyes darting, her grip tightening around Isla's hand, something familiar stirred inside him, something that recognized the posture of someone bracing for impact. Marisol approached the table slowly, her steps measured, her voice steady when she introduced herself in the way people do when they expect a door to close gently but firmly in their faces. She explained, without excuses, that her daughter was with her because there was no other choice, that she understood if this was not what he signed up for, that she could leave. She did not look at Rowan when she said it, because looking meant hoping, and hoping hurt more when it collapsed. Isla stood quietly beside her, eyes wide and observant, taking in the cafe, the plants by the windows, the man with kind but tired eyes who seemed frozen between reaction and response. Rowan did not react the way Marisol expected, because he did not react at all at first. He simply looked at Isla, then at Marisol, then back again, and something shifted behind his eyes, like a memory unfolding. He had been on the other side of this moment before, years ago, when he brought his own son, Theo, to a doctor's appointment and felt the room stiffen around them, when he sensed the silent calculations people made about his worth, his choices, his life. He remembered how it felt to be seen as complicated baggage instead of a human being doing their best. And so instead of disappointment, what rose in him was recognition. He stood up, slowly, deliberately, so as not to startle anyone, and pulled out a chair near his own. He suggested they sit, that Isla join them, that sunlight was better shared than wasted. The simple gesture landed like a lifeline in Marisol's chest, unexpected and fragile, and she lowered herself into the chair before fear could convince her it was temporary. Isla climbed up beside her, feet swinging slightly, her gaze still cautious but curious now, and Rowan ordered another juice, remembering that children rarely liked coffee shops but often tolerated them better with something sweet. As the minutes passed, the tension Marisol carried like a second skin began to loosen, thread by careful thread. Rowan did not ask intrusive questions or make jokes that missed their mark. He spoke about ordinary things, about the weather that felt like a promise, about the park across the street where he sometimes took Theo in the afternoons, about how mornings were his favorite time of day because they still held possibility. Marisol found herself breathing more deeply than she had in weeks, the kind of breath that reaches places long held tight. She spoke about her work, about how Isla loved drawing suns and insisted every picture needed one, about how life had narrowed and widened at the same time after becoming a mother. The cafe filled and emptied around them, light shifting slowly across the floor, and something else began to change, subtle but powerful. Isla, sensing safety, leaned forward to examine Rowan's watch, fascinated by the ticking hands, and Rowan explained how time moved whether people noticed or not, how sometimes it moved slower when you wished it would hurry and faster when you wished it would stay. Marisol watched the exchange with a mix of gratitude and disbelief, aware of how rare it was for someone to include her child without making it feel like charity or obligation. Rowan's reaction, she realized, was not tolerance but welcome, and that difference mattered more than anything else. He did not see Isla as an interruption or an inconvenience,